All right, hello guys. This is Pipcartel Academy. So in this video, I'll be explaining how I analyze the AUD and I'll be sharing my view on it. So this is the final view. So I'll be showing how I analyzed it and what I'm expecting to happen this new week on AUD. So I'll be doing a top-down analysis. So I'll be starting from the weekly time frame uh, all the way down to the 4-hour time frame. Right, so I'm going to clear my chart. So I don't use any indicator. So we'll be analyzing just purely the price action. So let's zoom in and just go all the way back. See where this chart starts from, the price action starts from. So the chart is still loading. So we can see it all the way up to around 1994. All right. So we've gotten a trend line here. So we notice that we have a support here. We have another support here. So we eventually have a breakout because it's a resistance. So we need to take note of that point. All right. So we see that price failed to expect this point and for us to have a new trend up. For us to have a new pull up, but we had a breakout. Eventually had a breakout and we have a downtrend. So that means this was the end to the uptrend there. So then we later have a downtrend. See the big drop all the way down to this point. Check well. This was our starting point. So that means price broke the previous low. That means AUSD, that is Australian dollar, went deep below the previous low. That was in 1993. So in 1998, in 1998, May 1998. So Australian dollar experienced a big drop down, and we can see price keep pushing down. So let's see what happens. So price moved all the way up to this level. So this was a new high after the big drawdown. We had a retracement up to this point, and price moved down up to this point. So let's zoom in and see what happened. Let's zoom in. So how are we going to draw our trend line for this downtrend? So we realize after we have this move back down, after we have this big drop, this was our first high. This was our first high before we have reducing highs and lows. So we can choose this point to draw a new trend line. Because if you consider this big move, we don't have new lows and new highs because price broke out here and we have an uptrend. So let's see what happens next after the breakout. So we can see a big pull up So which one should we consider here? So what should we consider here, right? So after the breakout here, we can see some small lows and highs here, but we had a big drop down here. So we can consider this big move. So we consider this as our first swing, high, and no swing low. So you can see what I'm connecting. So we don't really need to bother ourselves about all these moves now. So let's just come straight forward up to the current price right now. Safe chart. So we can see we had a breakout here and price retested the trend line and keep dropping. But what happened? Before we can say this trend has been invalidated, price must break the previous low, and this was our previous low. Where price retested here. This point is very important. So let's see what happens. So we can see price actually retested it. We had a breakout here, but it was a fake breakout. The next week price closed in. Then this shows us that this is a continuation pattern and price respected the trend. So this shows us that we bullish on AUSD. But let's see what our targets will be. What are we targeting? So now let's come back all the way down to where the move started. So it's very important. So after we had a breakout and we test and we have this support, we can see all the move all the way up to this point. This was our first resistance, our first high. So it's an important point. That was our first high. Before we eventually have this pullback. All right, good. So we currently look what is happening in the market now. So that means we're expecting the price to push all the way up here. And before we have a pullback or we have a breakout and we have a retest, we have a breakout, a retest, and we have price keep pushing up, or we have price retreat once it hits this resistance here. So let's go to smaller time frame to see what is actually happening in the market right now. So if we go on daily time frame, if we go on daily time frame, we see this is the trend line. Don't forget, after the breakout, you see how price will tested the zone, and price has been moving since last week. The trend has been bullish. Let's go into our time frame. So price has really moved a lot. So we can see an institution candle. I can see an institution candle in play here. So that means this week market will eventually be bullish because I'm expecting price to push all the way up here. All the way up here. That is our target. But how do we know where to enter once again? Since there is an institution coming in play here. So I'm expecting the price to pull back all the way here. Don't forget we have some resistances, some obstacles here. So there's tendencies that price will actually rise up to this point. Price can rise up to this point. We are not interested in that. And we trace back all the way into this zone. So once price gets back to this zone, then we find our entry. So that means we're looking to long AUSD at this point, and our stop loss just below here. That is our stop loss is just 15 or 16 pips. We are targeting up here. So our risk to reward is around 1 ratio 14. So that's our risk to reward on AUD USD. So that is all on AUD USD for this new week. That means we exercise some patience. We have to wait until price come all the way down to this point before we eventually have our entry on this trade. Or else we are not going to take this trade because it's not advisable to enter the trade here. It has moved a lot of pips. It has moved. That's around 56 pips. So we have to be patient until the price get back to this point. Then we can take the trade. All right. So let's go to Euro USD. Okay. All right. So you can see my chart. So same thing on Euro USD on 4-hour time frame. So I'm expecting price to come back to this one. And once price gets here, we will find an entry point and we take the trade all the way up to this point. So expecting price to retrace back to around 1.20580. So it's also a ratio of 1:8. Risk to reward ratio. We're risking $18 to $1.8. That's for the lowest lot size to get $16. All right. So for USDJPY, so analyze it here. So I get to analysis on USDJPY. Okay, it's even 3 analyses which I give on USDJPY. The first one, I analyze price, trace all the way to this point. You can see if I should zoom it. Okay, if I should expand it. So that means our first signal triggered here, and price goes all the way up here and retraced back to this point. You can see it's tracing back a bit. So if price should if the market should retrace all the way down to our stop loss, then our second entry point will be at this point. That is if, okay, let me go to bigger time frame so you can see the bigger picture. You can see our target. So we analyze price we hit here and price will keep pushing up. Or if it gets invalidated, that means price is coming all the way down to retest the trend line. You can see price broke out of this trend line and we're yet to have a retest. So there's possibilities price will eventually test this point. But we can also have a double top here. We have our first retest here, which is our first top, and we have another point here, which will be a double top. That is the signal I gave there. So that means we can eventually have another high here before price will eventually drop to retest to retest the trend line, to retest this trend line. So that means we'll be patient. We're already in this trade. Patient to see what will happen on this trade in this week. So we also analyzed JPY. It's triggered entry point, and you see we have little drawdown on GJ, and it's moving. It's already at, around 127 pips already, and our target is still up here. So for this new week, so the possibility price will rise up to this point, and we have a pullback to this point again before it finally rise and get to our target. All right. So GA rather. So let's we analyze GA. So I can see what is going on in GA. So I'll start from the weekly time frame. So we're back testing. See what's really happening in GA. So we can see we have a big downtrend in GA. Very big downtrend. So we need to know which is really a high and low. It's very important. So if you check well, this was an impulsive move. This was an impulsive move. So this will be considered as a movement, and this was a corrective move. A corrective move. So it's very important to take note of that. So my first eye, I can decide to choose this as second eye or wait. So if we are taking this as second eye, let's see. I want to see it's stability. All right, good. You can see we have a double top there. So that means I'll be considering this point to trigger my trend line. So I'm zooming. So that is the bigger picture, the big trend. And don't forget this. This was our support. And we had a pullback, so I'll be changing the color. So, yeah, good. So that means you can see price has been trying to test the point. The price is here to get to that point. So that means one way or the other in the future, price will eventually come back to retest this trend line. It's very important to know that. So that is what we are looking at. So we can see this bigger picture on the daily time frame. So now let's analyze what is going on now. So after the breakout from this red line, which is my support, so what happened? Let's see what happened. So after the breakout, we have an high here. High here. And we have the low here. So we are looking for a new high after the breakout from this support zone. So we'll be drawing our trend line, which is this point. So which points do I connect together? This point and this point. They have two points are connected together. Now we eventually add a breakout here. So after the breakout, what happens? We have a highway. You can see we have a ranging market here. We have a ranging market. Okay. Let me make use of triangle. All right. So I want to make use of this to draw my trend line. So that means after this ranging market, you can see price eventually goes up, and we have a first corrective move up to this point before price starts moving up again. So this shows us that we are in an uptrend market here. So if we are drawing a trend line, I want to see the perfect one that will be considered. Yes. All right. Now we can zoom so we can see very well. The retest. So if I'm considering this, then that means I'm choosing this as my high, and if I'm taking this as my low, then that means I'll consider this point as my high. That means the new support have to be above this point. So that is why I'm considering this point, because this support is above the resistance. That is why I'm choosing this point. So you see the reason why I chose this as my new support. So this is the first support. The new higher. So now since then we can see price has been trying to push up, and price was about to retest this point once again. So with this trend, we know we are in a bullish market on a weekly time frame. So after this retest, we have price pushed all the way up here. So now, so chart. So we have price retest. This is our first point. That was our resistance. So you can see we have a retest of the resistance. So that is why we have rejections at this point. This is the support. So after we had this breakout, so what I'm expecting to happen in pounds AUD, we can eventually have a pullback to retest this resistance once again, and to also retest the trend line before price will eventually start down. shooting up. So we can see this clearly on weekly time frame. You can see this clearly on weekly time frame. So now let's go on daily time frame to see what is happening. All right. So we can see price tested the resistance here. This is daily time frame, don't forget. So we can see price fail to break this point. Let's fail to break this point. Daily time frame. That means we have a strong resistance there. We check the bishop back test. It was also a strong resistance to the past. Where price is reversed. We actually have a breakup because that means we have liquidity forming up here. So we eventually have a breakout. So let's see what is happening. All right, good. So I'm expecting price to retrace and retest this point. So price might range around this point. We have an institution candle here. So that means we have a pending order here. I expect price to move all the way from here once price gets into this point. So that means we have a pending order up here. The stop loss will be below the candle. Yeah. And we can take profit at the resistance here. So that is a ratio of 1:8. That is 1:8. So let's check. Let's check what is happening. Let me try and use my feed ratio. Okay. So that's between 38% and 50%. So if price should invalidate this point, I can assure you guys that price will eventually come all the way down. So we test this support or we test the trend line before we now finally have price pushing up. That's why we have to be very patient. Until price get to this point, we ain't taking any trade on GA. I'm not taking any trade on GA. So we set a pending order at 1.77687, and our stop loss is below this candle here, and that is at 1.786950. And our target profit is up here. So we need to be patient enough for markets to come our way. We don't chase markets, we allow markets to come to our way. All right, so let me see if I can analyze one more here before I end this meeting. Okay. So yeah, I analyzed the Eurusd. All right. So Eurusd already triggered entry point. Let me see if I can still see the screenshot here on Eurusd. Yeah, you can see Eurusd. That is February 7th. I get the analysis that price will get all the way to 1.27.198, and it starts to short. See what is happening right now on Eurojpy. You can see price eventually got to the point. You can see after hitting the point, you can see how price started dropping. So if I should change this, you can see we already in let me calculate the around 13 pips now. So it's still a good trade to take for this new week. But if you are taking this trade in this new week now, your stop loss will be around 45 pips. 45 pips. So it's still a good trade to take. You are risking 45 pips to make around 127 pips. So it's still a good trade to take on Eurojpy. Okay, let me check one more here. All right, gold. I also gave analysis on gold. So let me see if I still have my screenshot on gold. I gave analysis on USDC. Yeah, this was my analysis on gold. So I analyzed price. We eventually move all the way up to 1843 before it starts shorting. And if this should get invalidated, that means price will rise all the way up to 1896 before we start shorting. And price hit our first entry point. See what triggered? What triggered? And it went a bit here, and before it starts dropping. So currently now we are in. See, it has moved a lot of pips. Has moved a lot of pips. So I'm still expecting gold to drop more this week in this new week. So if you miss this pair, this is not a good time to enter. You have to be patient and wait if we will have another opportunity up here again. Because gold can eventually still rise all the way up here once again before it starts dropping. So you just have to be patient. If you miss the trade, be patient. You always have another new opportunity to enter the trade again. All right. I believe you have learned one or two things in this video. Please like and subscribe and share. Thank you.